But let's go to Victoria, where the Liberal Party are almost as dysfunctional as the party is in WA, South Australia and New South Wales. But could anyone give you more ammunition than Daniel Andrews? Earlier this month, Daniel Andrews labelled questions over whether he leads a corrupt and unethical government as ridiculous. If that weren't true, why was Andrews grilled in secret by Victoria's Anti-Corruption Commission into branch stacking and the misuse of funds within the ALP? Stay with me, because this gets to a political point almost beyond belief. We learned earlier this month that Premier Andrews was called before the Anti-Corruption Commission, and somehow or other a decision was made to conduct the inquisition behind closed doors. Mind you, I believe that is as it should be. If the evidence then determines that charges should be laid, that is when individuals should be named. But Andrews was asked at a press conference at the end of last month whether he led a corrupt and unethical government. And Mr Andrews wasn't going to say yes, was he? He called it a ridiculous suggestion. But hang on. The red shirts rorts before the 2014 election saw the Victorian ALP repay almost $400,000 of misused taxpayers' funds. Daniel Andrews was asked if that was evidence of an unethical pattern, to which Andrews said, no, that's completely and utterly wrong. Hello? $400,000 of misused taxpayers' money to help Andrews win the 2014 election? The source of all of this is the former Labor power broker, Adam Somyurek, who was also the subject of investigation, but he's complaining about the Anti-Corruption Commission leaking to the media. Where have we heard that before? But interestingly, Somyurek has accused Premier Andrews of knowing a lot about Somyurek's socialist left factional operations. Stay with me. Somyurek tweeted, Dan knows a lot about branch stacking and socialist left operatives organising the socialist left from MPs, including ministers' offices, unquote. He accused the Anti-Corruption Commission of protecting Dan, which makes you wonder where the Liberal opposition is in Victoria. I'll come to that in a minute. Leaked reports of the draft conclusions of the Anti-Corruption Commission suggest it's found that the culture within the Victorian ALP was unethical and led to the misuse of public funds and provided jobs for factional mates. Note the reference to the Victorian ALP. Surely that entitled the voter at the federal election last Saturday to ask if this is endemic in Victorian Labor. Surely a vote for Labor in Victoria last Saturday in the federal election endorsed this stuff. After all, the anti-corruption report ostensibly found that it is, quote, highly likely the misuse of publicly funded staff and the employment of family members and factional allies for party or factional purposes and nepotism has occurred for a much longer period and is much more widespread across Labor than moderate Labor, which is Mr Somyurek's faction, unquote. It went on. These unethical practices are embedded within the Victorian Labor branch and are systemic to all the factions, unquote. And the report apparently revealed that Andrews had conceded that to the inquiry. This is Victorian Labor as they went to the polls last Saturday. Well, what happened? Well, this is what the voter determined. In every seat won by Labor, with the exception of 7 out of the 24 that they won, there were significant swings to Labor. The Labor Party, about which the Anti-Corruption Commission found that the misuse of publicly funded staff and the employment of family members and factional allies for party or factional purposes and nepotism, the Commission found these unethical practices are embedded within the Victorian Labor branch. Well done to the Liberal Party, because this is Victorian Labor that held all its seats last Saturday. In 17 of them, there was a swing to Victorian Labor. And they won 2 seats from the Liberals, Higgins and Chisholm. Clearly the Liberal Party in Victoria couldn't begin to prosecute a case against Victorian Labor. They should fold up their Liberal tent and fade away. Surely this is proof that the Victorian Liberal Party is politically hopeless.